So there's probably what, a million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, five more
There
watching.
were 6 million people
Six.
watching the stream at the time.
Oh my gosh. Welcome to another edition of Storytime. I'm your host, Steve Hatherly, and my guest for today, I'm very excited. He grew up in rural South Carolina, and after graduating from college, he moved to Indiana. He was a high school teacher there, but didn't last very long in the grand scheme of things. His choice, not the school's choice. 4 years in total, I believe, was the amount of time to teach there. Decided to leave the United States, traveled to different parts of Asia, through different parts of Asia before settling on Korea in 2007. He was a teacher here initially before launching his what is now a very successful singing career. Greg Priester joins me for story time today. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Thanks.
Glad to be here.
Thanks very much for joining. Yeah. We're going to get to the singing stuff, of course. 5
Mhm.
singles, new album coming out. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Maybe we're a couple of months away from that. YouTube channel's
Yeah.
huge, over 700,000 subscribers. But let's go back to the beginning before we get to story time today.
Oh.
Rural South Carolina. How is it growing up in rural South Carolina?
Very free. I mean, it is country, so you don't have a whole lot going on. So I spent a lot of time on the farm. There wasn't a whole lot to do, to be honest. You kind of you go to church, go to school, go back home, help with stuff. Same cycle repeats over and over, and that's about it. Nobody asks you what's your dream because you just stay there and do that. That's South Carolina.
Football player in your younger years?
You had no choice. What guy wasn't playing football? Even some girls playing football.
What position did you play?
I was a wide receiver. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Surprise, right? Yeah, I don't have the stature.
a good
A
wide
good one?
receiver.
Nah, uh, not great, not bad. I'll say it like that.
After college, you moved to Indiana to teach high school. Was that how did that come to be? Were you just looking around the country? Were you looking outside of South Carolina at that time?
Well, even before that, I'll take you back a little bit. Living in South Carolina, like I said, most people don't leave
Mm.
South Carolina easily. I met a substitute teacher once in high school, and she said, "Why are you still here?
Mm.
Get out of here." And I was like, "Why? Why?" She said, "If you don't leave, you never will."
Mm.
Most South Carolinians don't ever leave. They stay here forever. I said, "Well, how do you leave?" She said, "Go to another state." So she recommended me to a boarding school in Tennessee, which I went there first. And then that kind of got me into the mindset of I could get away a little bit. I could branch out. So my parents begrudgingly said no at first. And then they finally said, okay, yeah, begrudgingly, yes, they switched. They said, okay, we know you should go, but we don't want you to go. We know you should go, but we also still don't want you to go.
Mm.
And they let me go. So I went to boarding school. And then from there, I ended up at university in Indiana. Yeah.
Taught at high school in Indiana. Was it right? Was that right for 4 years in
Yeah.
total?
4 years, man.
Yeah, not a big fan of that part of your
it,
life, huh?
it was rough, man. I talk about it in small details because I don't want people to feel like, I'm bashing the system, but it wasn't teaching. I was basically a prison guard, man. There were guns,
That's
there was
interesting because
violence.
Indiana, I mean, when we talk about the different parts of the states that have violence in schools,
Yeah.
Indiana doesn't necessarily come to mind, though,
You
right?
wouldn't think so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you get up near Chicago, if you get right across the border into Indiana, there's Gary, Indiana, where Michael Jackson grew up. Then from there is Lafayette. Of course, that area is well known for a lot of unfortunate gun violence. And you don't think about it because you think of Illinois more with Chicago, but actually we're right on the border of it. So we actually get some of that too, sadly. So yeah.
Decided to leave your teaching job there. Were you also, because that's the point that you left the United States, right?
Yeah, right.
Was that a decision to leave America, or did that just come to be kind of organically?
It just kind of happened organically because at first I was just going to take a break from teaching.
Mhm.
It was like, just, take a year off and see what happens. And then a friend happened to be teaching. She's like, take a year sabbatical, go abroad. I was like, I thought professors do that. Did high school teachers do that too? Like, yeah, they do. Go, get out of here, go travel. Like, where can I go? She said, you can go to Europe, you can go to Asia, anywhere. There's so many places that do this. And so people don't know this. A lot of teachers just stick with it for 20, 30 years and never take a break. You can take breaks. You can take a sabbatical.
You can take a break, move to Asia, and become an amazingly popular singer, everybody. It's just that easy.
Change your life,
Shit,
everybody.
why didn't I do that, Greg?
What in the world?
Traveled through different parts of Asia, settled on Korea in 2007, right. And then the singing part started. Like I said, 5 singles now, new album, YouTube subscribers now over 700,000. We're going to talk about the music today.
Sure.
So Greg, what story are you going to tell us?
Well, I'm going to take you to a story where BTS covered my version of a song.
Amazing. Greg, are you ready for story time?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's get it. Let's get it. Story time, y'all.
Okay, so where do we start then? BTS covered which song? Let's go back to the very beginning.
Oh gosh. Oh, how I even got started singing in Korea is its own like long story. So let's go back in time to 2010. Like, wow. And we can go even further back if you want to, because we can go back to home where my family wasn't into me singing at all.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, oh wow. I still remember saying to my dad in elementary school, "Daddy, I want to sing," and he's like, "Go to your room." Yeah. Look, what?
What? Which is interesting because dad was a singer too, right?
Yes, yeah. He's a jazz singer, also sang in church a lot, and he's like, "No, you can't do that." Like, why? He's like, "You can have all the talent in the world, but there's almost no chance to make it. Why do that?" Like, because I want to. It's my dream. He's like, "That's not a dream. Go to your room and study and like get a salary job." And I'm like, "Okay, Daddy," and I stopped.
Yeah. So you did the teaching thing, but then when you left the States to move to Asia, you weren't moving to become a singer. You were just moving to give yourself a break. But when you came to Korea, you were still you came to Korea as a teacher, and a lot of people who don't live in Korea might not know that the karaoke or noraebang as it's called here in the country. It's kind of a popular thing for people to do on the weekend after dinner, have some drinks, and then go to the singing room. And that's where people encouraged you to take a shot at doing it professionally, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because when we went there, some coworkers and everything, I'll be honest, I was just sitting in the corner drinking. Most people in Korea don't even know that I used to drink because since I've had the singing career, I quit. But back then I was doing it up, man. I was just sitting in the corner tanking it. And someone was like, "Greg, if you don't sing, you got to pay." Like, okay, I guess I'll sing. So I got up and I sang Joe Cocker, I think, "You Are So Beautiful."
Yeah.
And it gave me 100 points on the system, because it judges your score. And they were like, "You told us you couldn't sing. What is this? What is this craziness?" I was like, the system's crazy or whatever. They're like, "You're really good. You need to sing more. Sing at my wedding." And so one of my coworkers invited me to sing at her wedding. And then that got me into more singing from there. That was around 2009. 2010, I met the KBS producer at one of the weddings I was singing at.
KBS, if people don't know, is a Korea broadcast. Yeah, I think so. Korea Broadcasting Station. It's a popular TV and radio station here.
One of the top ones.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the first audition I did in Korea. I'd already sang at maybe a good couple hundred weddings already by then because it had picked up really quickly. So by 2009, I started that in December. 2010, the whole year I sang at weddings. 2011, I continued weddings. And then finally these auditions. So the first program I went on was called 전국 노래자랑. It's basically like a American version of Star Search.
Okay.
Yeah, local like auditions of people in that city come out.
Anybody can come out and do it, right?
Anybody, yeah. But usually older people on there, right? I showed up there, foreigner on there, singing a song called "너를 위해" by MJ Bum. It's not the typical song for that place, But I got second place on the show, and that was kind of the start of everything.
That'll
Yeah,
do
man.
it. And then everybody watching is like, "Who is this guy?" Yeah, because that was a popular TV show, right?
It still is. It's been going almost 40 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like 1981, 82. So I think it's at 40 years. Yeah.
So now what happens in the aftermath of that? Because you finished second on this reality show, but for some shows, you'll finish first, second, third, fourth, and they'll try to get you to sign a record deal or a contract with a label right away. Did that happen for you, or did that not happen for you?
That didn't. It's such a localized kind of small singing competition. It's like a mom and pop version of like a singing competition.
Yeah,
it's
we're not talking the American Idol version.
Yeah,
here, right?
No, we're not talking a full season of this. You come back every week and perform.
Yeah,
it's every Sunday there's a different competition.
Yeah,
and there's a first, second, third winner, and then the next week another competition like that.
Yeah.
So what happened was I became viral on the internet, and at that time that wasn't so huge. YouTube wasn't even a big thing yet. It was Facebook, man. Facebook, I blew up. And so suddenly I'm getting like DMs from famous singers in Korea, like, dude, you're so good. Come sing more. So I met Epic High through Facebook at that time, because they're like, dude, we saw you on Jungle Noredana. You're really good.
Amazing.
Keep singing, man.
Yeah.
Like,
they were and still are a popular.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still together anymore, but Epic High was a top hip hop group here, right?
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah. So it's so cool that they reached out to me. They told me to keep doing it. After that, more weddings, of course. But then the next thing was Superstar K.
Now,
Superstar K.
That is the American Idol equivalent, 100. Right?
Yeah, that's the one. Huge audition program here in Korea. Went there with some rappers. Some people were like, why'd you go with the rappers? Because honestly, I didn't feel like I could do it yet. I know that sounds weird, but I still felt that little bit of...
You didn't feel like you were a singer yet?
Not yet. Still, there was some doubt, like, well...
Those rappers were your security blanket, I guess.
They were. They really were. And if they weren't there, I wouldn't have gone on that stage alone. Yeah. No way. Yeah. Thankfully, we went together. We did a version of Kim Bum-soo's 보고 싶다, I Miss You in English. And our version of the song took over the season. We didn't win the show, but our song cover has more views than any performance from that entire season of the show.
Right?
Yeah.
So how did you do? You said you didn't win, but how high did you finish?
So we were top 10. Yeah.
Okay. And you performed the whole time as a group?
Yeah, the whole time. But they kept asking me, the judges, because they do that, where they ask you, do you want to leave your group?
Yeah.
Stay with them. And I was like, I'm going to stay with them. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. They're like, no, if you leave them, you can do it. And I'm like, no. So I stayed with them, and I made the best choice, I think, to stay with them, actually.
Okay. So you finished that show. You finished top 10. I'll ask you the same question. Did record companies start calling at that point?
Yes. In fact, they did. And they wanted us, again, to split up. They're like, we want the rappers separate. We want you by yourself. And at that time, I felt this sense of gratitude to them for being there with me, supporting me through it. And I didn't want to break up the team. And in retrospect, I think I still made the right choice. And I don't know if I would have felt comfortable going into a company at that point yet, solo.
You still didn't have the confidence then?
No. Okay. And this is 4 years in now, and I'm still like, no. But now industry people know me, and that's what was confirmed by then. So I said, what if I did YouTube then? Maybe it's a chance to make my own channel.
Okay, because YouTube's well established now at that point, right?
People know YouTube now. Yeah. So I started it. I always had it. I had it from like 2006, but I didn't upload singing. I just would like post like teaching videos.
Greg at the zoo.
All right.
Here's what I'm having for lunch today.
Did you watch, Steve? How did you know about that? 100% what I was doing. Just hanging out. Oh, this is Korea. Wow, look at, I'm in Paju. Look at the scenery. Never singing on there. And first video I uploaded was 2015. Not a big response at first. People were like, oh, well, who is this guy? Because they knew me on TV. It's just Hookyung. Nobody knew my name was Greg.
Okay.
And so, that's a common thing in Korea where you're identified, by the race and gender. They didn't know my name. And that was fine because I wasn't that big in my mind yet. But from then, I'd call the channel Greg Hyung. So
Mm.
Brother Greg. It wasn't Hook Hyung anymore, it was Brother Greg. The first 2 years of the channel, little traction every now and then, a few messages. But again, I appeared on another show called Hidden Singer with a guy named Hui Song.
Mm.
They asked me to sing some of his song, which I sang that day. And that was what pushed my YouTube. The next day I had like 100,000 subscribers because
Wow. How many had
people
you
were,
had before that?
wow, it lingered at like 10 to 15. It was,
Okay.
yeah, it kind of lingered there.
Yeah.
But the big push was Hidden Singer. People were like, whoa, dude can sing.
Mm.
And Hui Sung even said, I've never heard an African American or a Black person sing my song, and it's so much better than mine. So I was like, wow, I felt so honored. And then the next day, YouTube blew up for me. That was the big turning point, and that was like 2016.
So, what song was it that got BTS's attention?
Funny enough, the one from Superstar K, 보고 싶다. The funny thing about that is that the version of it is so not different, but it's more soulful than the original, and many people love that. When they hear, they're like, this isn't the original song at all. Like, you made a totally new song.
Sometimes a cover can turn out better than the original. Sometimes it can go completely off the rails.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Britney Spears' Satisfaction, if you've heard that.
Right. Yeah, I've heard it.
But for you nailed this. How's your singing voice condition today? I won't ask you to show us if you're not feeling
it's
good.
Still a little funky, unfortunately.
No worries.
Yeah, so I promise you all, I'll give it to you on the channel. Check out the YouTube.
So where were you when you found out that BTS, I mean, where were you? Who told you? What was the context of the situation?
Well, it's funny. I was at work at the time, and then suddenly, I guess they do a evening live show sometimes where they just stream on their own channel. They have their own streaming network. It's not even YouTube. It's like their own, because they're so big now. They have their own streaming platform.
BT streaming.
Yeah, and it's something like that. It's like V Live or something. And they do that. They were on there just hanging out, and they were having like a little game show that they do. And I was working, so I suddenly started getting these messages, and people were like, Greg, can you get on the V Live right now? I'm like, I'm at work. I can't right now. And so by the time I got home, people had screenshot and sent me videos of what had happened. And so here's what it was. They had a game show, and they have like a little Jeopardy style kind of thing, 100 to 500 points each category. Okay. And it said popular songs. You have to sing whatever song comes up. And so one of the categories, the 500 was sing Kim Bum-soo's 보고 싶다.
Okay.
They break into my version instead of Kim Bum-soo's version.
Wow.
Which is crazy because the original version is also super popular. It was OST to a movie many years ago that was huge, Stairway to Heaven, I think. And they sang my version, not Kim Bum-soo's version.
Oh my god! So wait now. So they must. I didn't see the stream, but they must have talked about that. They must have said, "Oh well, actually, this isn't the original version. We're gonna sing a little bit of Greg's version of the song."
Yeah, exactly that. Yo, shout outs to Greg, 사랑해요, bro.
Oh my god! This is the biggest group on the planet.
Number one on the earth. Right?
I mean, how many people are watching that live stream at the time? Because the army, and that's what BTS's fans are called. They're called the army.
Yes. Right.
They're more powerful than an actual army.
I agree.
So there's probably what, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 more watching.
There were 6 million people watching the stream at the time.
Oh my gosh. 6 million people, and the biggest
6 million streaming at that time.
The biggest group on the planet is saying shout out to Greg for his version of the song.
So people are like, who's this guy? Who's Greg? And so they keep singing it like and going crazy, and people are like, what? And so they start looking for me.
Yeah,
and that's where the story begins. Yeah, right. It's crazy.
My gosh.
Isn't that nuts?
What happened after that? So people are obviously now going to your YouTube channel. They're searching on Naver, they're Googling your name.
Yeah.
and they find your version of the song.
So that was just it would have been around last October, November.
Okay. Yeah. So now you're obviously thinking the album's a couple of months away. Am I correct?
Yeah, it should be this summer. Yeah,
Okay,
I was like,
okay.
let's get some music.
Summer of 2022. But
Yeah.
after that, you must be talking with your label saying, we got to get this out.
Yeah, so
like
let's get
now.
to work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like as soon as we possibly can, right?
right. Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah, it's cool.
What can you tell us about the new record?
Well, it's interesting because I've been working at making music for so long, and just originally I planned to release back in 2020, and then of course the pandemic hit and everything changed. So we halted a lot of things. So it's been in the making for a minute. 6 songs Korean, 6 songs are English, but actually the English ones still have Korean in them, but it's not the predominant part. So I'd say they're like 80% English and then 20% like lines that are Korean, like that. Um, it's music I've wanted to make for a long time. It's like Greg's R&B. You have Greg and B these days. Yeah, Greg and B instead of R&B. Yeah, G and B, right? Greg and B. It's just stuff I've wanted to make for so long and just haven't because I didn't think I could. And so finally you're going to hear Greg's voice. You don't have to hear me do covers anymore. I appreciate all the love for the covers and stuff too, but now it's time to hear some of my original music. So.
Would you say that feeling you had at that first audition program where you felt I wasn't good enough, and that feeling that you even had at the second audition program, even after finishing top 10, you still felt I'm not good enough? Is that feeling finally gone now?
Not totally gone, but it has diminished a lot. I'll say that. You know,
that's about as arrogant as Greg gets.
That's about as close as you get from me. Yeah. Yeah. But that's coming a long way, because I'm telling you, I fought this thing for 20 years of my life, because I was told from 8 years old, that's not something that you can do. And so when you grow up with that seed becomes a very, very big tree. And it has been fun to hack at that mother, but I've been working my butt off to get rid of it.
When your dad, and he's not with us anymore, right? He passed away.
Yeah.
When he was telling you that, you weren't hearing him say it's a tough industry for anyone to make it in.
Right.
You were hearing you can't do this.
That's all I heard. I didn't hear about anybody else.
And obviously that wasn't his message though, right?
I know. Yeah. Even we talked about it before he passed, and thankfully he got to see the YouTube and everything. It was up and going by then. He was able to visit before he passed and everything, and he could see me signing autographs in Korea, going to restaurants and people giving me free stuff to eat, or fans coming up to me on the street. He's like, I am so sorry. And I was like, why? Sorry about what? He's like, I should have supported your dream from the beginning. He's like, I didn't mean for you to think that it was impossible for you. I just meant it was difficult. And I wanted you to have safety in life, as a parent would want. You don't want your child to struggle. You want them to have a comfortable life. You want them to be successful, happy. And he just worried that, what if you don't make it? What if, the difficulties,
yeah, of course.
And that's all it was. And we had a really good heart to heart. And that was one of the only times I got to really sit down and cry with my dad, because he wasn't that kind of person. He's very serious, really Army style guy. And it was a blessing to hear him say, I'm proud of you and you did it. You proved me wrong. Ultimately, he knew I could do it. It's just
oh my goodness, we're having an Oprah moment.
Yeah,
now,
I was like, oh gosh.
No, I'm supposed to make you cry. You're not supposed to make me cry.
Oh gosh, every time I talk about him. But yeah, ultimately it worked out, and he got to see it, and that's the biggest success in my life, that he got to see it. Yeah.
Did you you said that he was a singer?
He was.
Did you ever record anything with him?
We did. We recorded one small song together.
Really?
It's a song he used to sing in church called All of My Help. And as a kid, I would watch him sing it in church and be like, wow, daddy's so good. I wish I can sing like that one day. And now as an adult man, to look back and say, thank you for giving me that voice. Wow. I'm carrying it forward every time I'm on stage. And so it's really, I feel so blessed that I'm able to carry that on every day. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Album, no specific date yet?
It'll probably be end of June we're looking at. So as we get into summer, some summer songs in there to get you guys cruising around. So
nice.
So summer.
title album for the album? Can we know that?
Okay, one of the songs is called Find a Way.
Okay.
And that means find the way to do the things you want to do in your life. As if you want to cruise, if you want to sing, if you want to be lazy, whatever. The song has that total vibe of do the things you want to do. And that's really the theme of the album. Find your way, find a way.
I mean, 20 years, 30 years down the road, you're gonna look, and I'm sure you're probably feeling that way right now, but I'm sure even further into the future, the further into the future you get, this album is just going to have so much of a powerful meaning to you because finally you got to do what you always wanted to do.
It's so true. It's 100%. And thank you for supporting that over the years. You've been one of those voices. When I said, no, I don't think so, you're like, Greg, go sing more. Yeah, right. Like, why aren't you doing it? And thank you for that. I needed to hear that, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm proud of you, man. I'm really looking forward to hearing the tracks on the album. Come back and do a part 2 of this after the album comes out, and we can talk about how it is. In the meantime, YouTube, Instagram, tell everybody where to find you.
Yeah, find me on YouTube. Everything, every SNS is gsupasinga. So all of those us are A. So instead of super singer, so gsupasinga. So I'm gsupasinga everywhere.
gsupasinga. Just search that into YouTube and become one of the 700,000 plus subscribers, right?
Yes, please subscribe and share and let people know. Yeah, I appreciate it. The fandom has grown outside of Korea these days, but most of the fans are Korean. So when you see all the comments and stuff, it's all in Korean. But there's more and more. I'm seeing Spanish and sometimes other languages popping up nowadays. So
that was thanks to
BTS.
Well, that was thanks to BTS, but it was also thanks to a Sia Christmas cover, right?
That's right. Yeah, Sia, man. I sang that like 2 years ago, and I think after people discovered me through BTS, they're like, "What else does he sing?" And that cover has blown up. What was
that Christmas song again?
It's called Snowman. Yeah, by Sia. Yeah, it's so good.
Amazing.
It's like I loved it, but at the time when I uploaded it, it had like 20,000 views, and I was like almost 1 million. So I was like, wow,
incredible.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
gsupasinga, search that on YouTube and enjoy all of the music that Greg has to offer. One of my favorite ones that you did was a BTS song, Dynamite.
Dynamite.
You know what? I was camping. I was camping, and I texted you right away, and I said I was sitting in front of a campfire, enjoying a melting marshmallow, and a beer, which do not go well together, by the way.
That's an interesting match. Yeah. Okay.
And I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness, this is really? I thought it was better than the BTS song.
Wow. Thank you, man.
The Army's going to come after me for that one. Right?
We're in trouble now. Yeah.
Right. Greg, thanks for being on Storytime.
My pleasure. I'm glad to come back and share again.
Appreciado. Thanks, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, Greg.
Bye.
Once again, thank you to my guest, Greg Priester. What a guy. My favorite thing about Greg is all the success that he's had. He has never for one moment lost his sense of humility. Such a great human being. Hope you enjoyed that interview. Don't forget, hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment as well, and we'll see you for the next one.